On today's edition, Chris gives us his dream VGK line combinations. We get to all of that when we return right here on Locked On Golden Knights.
Your Locked On Golden Knights, your daily podcast on the Vegas Golden Knights, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hi again, everyone. Tony Cardasco, Chris Gawlik from Las Vegas. Thanks for making us your first listen each and every day. We appreciate you tuning in. As always, you can find us wherever you get your podcast on the audio side. And please subscribe to the YouTube channel. That is Locked On Golden Knights. We are brought to you today by Gametime, the Gametime app. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use the promo code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off of your first purchase. So, Chris, with Bruce Cassidy now shuffling lines, he put them in a blender, as you always say. What would your lines, your dream VGK lines be at this part of the season? And I also want to give you a little bit of credit here today because I feel as though Ivan Barbashev is slipping, right? The demotion to the third line. And you said within the next few weeks, you felt as though he would be a healthy scratch. So let's begin there.
Yeah, I mean, I did mention that. I mean, I've been call what it is. I've been on Barbashev since around week 2.5 of the regular season. Wrote an article about it on Vegas Hockey Now. Asked him about it, and it's okay. It's part of what happens in sports. Players do well, players don't do well, and it's an 82-game season. They got plenty of time to get it worked out. But I did say that I believe there is a potential that between now, whatever now was last week during the podcast, and by the end of the year, Barbashev would have one game of being a healthy scratch. Hope it doesn't happen for his sake. Hope it doesn't happen for the Golden Knights' sake. But if it does, it's like last week when I said it, people are probably like, wait a minute, I don't know about that. But then now all of a sudden Cassidy has tossed him down. I think this is the third or fourth time this season he's had a demotion in game. So Cassidy's eyes are open right now. Let's call it what it is. As far as what I would do with the lines right now, if Coach gave me a call and he said, hey, come on over, we can put some Pearl Jam on and talk about the lines. Here's kind of where my head would be at right now. So I'm moving. Tony's going to love this one. I'm bringing William Karlsson up to line one center right now. Karlsson is performing like a line one center right now and should be getting the 5-on-5 minutes as a line one center. More shifts per game. Put him up top. He's earned it. On his left side, I want Pavel Dorofeev. Dorofeev, he missed a game recently due to the upper body injury, we'll call it. But obviously
we can call it is it a lower face injury?
It's a lower jaw injury with the teeth.
Okay.
So we're not sure what Dorofeev's actual availability is. That could throw this off a little bit, but let's assume everyone's healthy right now, this moment. I'm going Dorofeev, Karlsson, Marchessault. Let's reignite some of that day one Misfits chemistry. And Pavel Dorofeev, when he came onto that third line with Karlsson, that's when Karlsson really started getting some points right now. Having Dorofeev on the top line with Karlsson limits the concern about Dorofeev's defensive liability because you got Karlsson out there. You got Marchessault out there. So I'm not as concerned about Dorofeev's defense on the top line. Second line, Eichel's going to move down. Not a demotion by any means, just Eichel's going to be on the second line. That's how it's going to be. Eichel's going to be on the second line. Cotter's going to be on the left side. On the right side is going to be Mark Stone. This is an interesting line because Stone, he's not the fastest. He's not the most mobile forward there is, but Eichel's going to create those opportunities. Where does Mark Stone make his living on the offensive end of the ice? Right in front of the net. Right in front of the nets. And Stone knows how to bury a puck from right in front of the net. Eichel's going to do his thing and dance around and find a way to get that puck to that high danger area And then you got Paul Cotter out there to disrupt everything, to take some of the attention away or add that physicality elements if they're dumping and chasing that puck. I mean, you don't want Eichel and Stone going in that corner doing the dirty work as much as Paul Cotter's better at that sort of thing. Third line, Chandler Stevenson. Not a demotion by any means, just this is what's left as far as the way I'm building the lines. Stevenson's going to be in the middle. On the right side, this is where Howden might be a bit uncomfortable. I'm not sure how he's on the right side, but Howden / Amadio is how I'm setting this one up. Howden and Amadio will be battling for that position. Amadio has more experience recently this season on the right side. Amadio's done a lot of good things, but he's not burying the puck. Howden also done a lot of good things. He's kind of been the Swiss Army knife, if you will, of this lineup, as Paul Cotter has. I mean, they've really both done a good job. I'm curious, just want to look at the stat lines between the two really fast. They got to be pretty close. So Amadio, 2 goals and 7 helpers. Howden, 3 and 2. So, I mean, you can split hairs there. And then on the left side of that wing, that's where Ivan Barbashev, and that is a demotion. Barbashev is going down to the third line. Fourth line, I'm not touching. Carrier, Waugh, and Colasar. They're doing fine, but the time could possibly come where Carrier does make that move up depending on what happens above him. So the biggest change is I'm putting Carlson up top with Marchessault. Dorofiev will be there too. Eichel's on the second line. Eichel and Stone, I don't know if we've seen that a lot together. I would be really curious to see what that would look like for an extended period of time. And then Stevenson without Stone, that's a concern. That's a concern. Let's be clear about this. But we're not putting Eichel on the third line, and Carlson deserves to be on top right now. So there you go.
If you have Eichel on the second line, he's going to get lost. And then it would all be about matchups too. So in essence, I feel as though your second line would basically be your first line. It would be your top line. And I think it's been a lot about matchups. And that's what Cassidy's trying to create here, are some mismatches. And is Barbashev one of those players that's just like a money player come playoff time?
Maybe. I mean, Barbashev hasn't had huge regular season stats before.
I mean, did we expect him to score a ton of goals? I did. I did for sure. But
I expected that top line to look like it did coming out of the playoffs. Now, that was obviously a lot of craziness that happened. I mean, you got, I think, 2 20-point scores in the playoffs. Barbashev had 18 points in the playoffs. Jack Eichel led playoffs, I think, at 26, and Marchessault was 24. So he had 60 points in 22 games among 3 players. That's a lot. That's a lot. I don't know if that's a reasonable expectation. But so here's Barbashev's point totals going back to 18-19. 80 games, 26 points. 69 games, 26 points. Only 38 games that season. Who cares? His marquee season, 21-22, 81 games, 60 points. 22-23, this is when the trade happens. So it plays all 82 games, 29 points with the Blues, 16 with Vegas for 45. So, I mean, Barbashev really, realistically, is a 40-point player right now at the stage of his career. 40 points, that's not a lot, right? Not a lot for the top line. And, I mean, we obviously talk about contracts on the show. 40 points, $5 million. I mean, I don't mind Barbashev's contract if whichever line he is on, we can point to Barbashev and say, he's making this line go. All right. We can say that happened about his first season here in the playoffs. Eichel and Marchessault were doing fine, but that line found a completely different gear once Barbashev entered the picture. Right now, we can't say that about Barbashev. We can't. Is there an injury? I don't think so. Is this a money thing? Player gets paid slowing down? I hope not. Is this just an NHL athlete struggling through 19 games and he'll figure it out? Probably. Are the expectations where they should have been for Barbashev? I mean, I think that's a question for Kelly McCrimmon to answer, because he's the one who offered him $5 million in lieu of keeping the beloved Riley Smith.
Coming up next, with American Thanksgiving approaching, a benchmark is that 76% of the teams in a playoff position will make the playoffs. We take a look at teams in the Pacific Division that can be in a playoff spot by Thursday. That's coming your way next, right here on Locked On Golden Knights. Gametime is the only ticketing app that gives you complete peace of mind with your purchase. Gametime's got a lot of deals. Chris and I both utilize it right up until the start of the event, even with the NHL Vegas Golden Knights. And even an hour after each game starts or event starts, it really is the place to find last-minute seats. You can find exclusive flash deals and sponsor deals on tickets for football, for the National Hockey League, for football, which we'll talk about later, for basketball, for baseball, concerts, comedy, theater, and much, much more. And with zone deals, you can pick the section, and the Gametime app will pick the seats for you. And that's an average of 18% savings for all of you. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, and you should create an account. Use the promo code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off of your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and use the redeem code LOCKEDONNHL, LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Welcome back to Locked On Golden Knights. Tony Cardasco and Chris Gawlik. We come to you from Las Vegas, city of sin and Formula One. I don't know. I know where it's going there. We appreciate you tuning in. Don't forget Friday, WTBF. What the Black Friday, right? We have to do that. And then, of course, Chris and Chris, that comes your way, the YouTube exclusive, and that is each and every Saturday morning. What time do you guys fire that up? It's pretty early.
It depends. I mean, Chris has been sleeping in a few minutes extra on Saturday, so it's been coming up around 8 o'clock on Saturdays.
Okay.
This one usually up for 7:30 for reference.
If you're a basketball fan too, a little promo here. I'm going to be broadcasting the Ball Dogs Classic. That's this week over at the Dollar Loan Center.
Nice.
And so I'm going to be complaining because
no, Tony's going to be complaining
over the
God,
next
that never happens.
Over the next 4 days, I'm broadcasting 9 games. I've got back-to-back games. I've got back-to-back-to-back games. Man, I just don't know. I don't know. That's my circumstance, not excuse. Okay, for this show and the.
So I just want to make sure you're talking about how rigged the games are. I want you to talk about the bad ice. I want you to talk about the college players having BLTs with the referees before the game, and everything else, that all the other wonderful things you bring to the show.
Yeah, for sure. The one thing I will bring to the Dollar Loan Center arena,
sweater.
Yeah. Well, I'm on the basketball court, and I learned something last year. You need to double up on your socks because your feet for sitting there. So today, let me see. I've got Rice against Indiana State for openers, and then followed 30 minutes later by Pepperdine against UC Irvine. And then it's going to be a fun up and down game between Toledo and the University of New Mexico. And then tomorrow, I'm not doing the women's games. I actually, bowed out a little bit there, but there are women's games there as well. Florida State Northwestern, first game tomorrow. And then Stanford against Belmont. Stanford's coming in top 10 women's basketball program. So that's all at the Dollar Loan Center. And then, of course, they'll have all other matchups with the men and the women. The rest of this week, we will have Thursday off. I'm just saying that just in case I lose my voice.
No, really quick, and then we'll jump back to hockey. But the G League team, I saw a promo during the Silver Knights game. One of the G League Ignite players was top 3 or 4 in the NBA draft last year?
Yeah, yes.
I don't remember who it was. I'm sorry, I don't have a better take right now, but that's cool.
Scoop Henderson,
okay.
Right? Okay, so
wait, there's a guy named Scoop Henderson playing in Henderson. I love that. That's great.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
And then next year, this next upcoming draft, there's about 2 or 3 potential players on the Ignite, and I've got to get out there because I'm slacking a little bit.
I want to get out there too. Me Me and Chris will get out there.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, so back to hockey. Is this a hockey
It's a
show?
hockey show. It's a hockey show.
Okay. So last year, 16 teams in contention in a playoff position in the NHL on Thanksgiving Day, American Thanksgiving, if you will. Bruce Cassidy celebrates every Thanksgiving, he said. 13 teams, or 81%, made it out of 16 teams into the playoffs. 81%, that's pretty good. So it is a decent barometer. It's a great barometer, if you will. Could we possibly see 3 or potentially 4 teams from the division in the playoffs next year? When you look at the Pacific, and on the Pacific division front, you've got VGK, 28 points. Vancouver, which I asked the question, will the Canucks be in first place by Thanksgiving Day or by the end of this road trip? Very well could happen.
It's possible.
Right. And then the Kings at 25. The Kraken already have played 20 games, and they have 19 points. That's the cutoff line for the Western Conference. But when you take a look at it, you can also have the Ducks and or the Flames in contention because they've played 2 fewer games. But do you prescribe by this theory, Chris? About 76% of the teams in the playoff positions on Thanksgiving Day will be in the playoffs. And the Pacific Division is turning out to be a little bit better than we thought.
I mean, listen, we're not going to argue, decades and decades and, half century of stats here as far as that goes. I think that's a pretty good sample size. So yeah, I'm certainly in on the theory that 70%, whatever that number was, will be in the playoffs if they are in a playoff position by Thursday, American Thanksgiving. Looking up here, I'm going to start with the Central for a second. You got Dallas, you got Colorado. They're
just
they're
beating up each other. They're beating up
themselves.
each other in the Central.
Yeah,
right.
Pretty much. But then, like, Winnipeg is 10-5-2. I don't see Winnipeg as that type of a team, and the Blues are holding on to that spot. So, I mean, is there a potential where there's 5 playoff teams in the Pacific? And I think that is a realistic possibility. I mean, if we're going to Vegas, Vancouver, LA, I think they're pretty much not cemented is a big word, but for this exercise, we're going to cement them in right there. And then now that leaves 2 more qualifiers out of the Pacific to get ahead of the Blues. I don't think the Blues are going to be there in the end. Maybe they are. I mean, they only played 17 games and they got 19 points. So just maybe they are going to surprise. Winnipeg, is that sustainable? I don't know. But if we're going to give the Central 3 qualifiers and 5 qualifiers to the Pacific, Vegas, Vancouver, LA, I think Seattle will hold their spot, even though they're not. It's getting harder for me to keep on saying that. Mm-hmm. And then now you got that last spot being fought between Anaheim, Gary, and the Oilers. The Oilers, like we just talked about the Western Conference playoffs for probably 3.5 minutes. We didn't mention Edmonton until fighting for the last spots, which is still just a remarkable story. I don't see a world that exists where they don't make the playoffs without Draisaitl and McDavid, but what do I know? I mean, they sent Jack Campbell to the AHL, who might get sent to the ECHL the way he's playing down there. As far as everything else happening with the Oilers, I don't know, but I just don't see them not being a force come playoffs.
They're done.
It's hard to argue. I
can't see them coming back. Every time I know, but every time I see them starting to make some headway, they falter again. They
Tampa got them, and they blew a lead. I saw not Mark Spector tweeted out they're on a road trip right now. In 4.5 periods, they'd blown like 5 leads. Think about that for a second. And when I was saying name recognition a second ago, I love little movie references. I was Eddie Murphy in Distinguished Gentleman. I was name recognition. If you guys haven't seen that movie, go check it out.
I haven't seen that movie, unfortunately. I'm busy, it's okay. Hanging out in gyms, sweaty gyms. Okay. So remember, I said, and I supported it with all of these statistics and such. that the Kings again would be a better road team than at home, right? And I cited the stats and
You
what
predicted
they've done.
this? Wait, are you saying you predicted this?
Of course. So over the last 2
Run
seasons,
with
I
it, bro.
gave out the numbers. You recall on the show, we're talking about them, better team on the road than at home, blah blah blah. And now they are 8-0,
Oh gosh.
just the third team in NHL history to go 8-0 on the road starting a season. 8 wins in a row at the beginning of a season. But I said they're going to be a good team on the road again. That's what I was getting at.
Yeah, I was looking to see when they
Remember
play
that?
next.
Do you remember? Or am I just
know,
making
I
stuff
know
up
we've
like
talked
usual?
about this. No,
Okay.
you've talked about this before, and I mean, credit the Kings for what they've done. Credit you for
making stuff up.
preceding this. No, although I
Okay.
did. Chris froze for a second on Saturday. He didn't freeze, but I said, "Bro, just make it up like me and Tony do during the weekend."
I
And
like
then he
that.
started, and then he started rattling off something great. It was awesome.
That's good. Yeah, that's the way we work around here. Is catching up fast.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Just make something up.
Walk-ons, folks. I was looking to see who was going to make some headway tonight and, how the playoffs might change on this Tuesday night of a holiday week where a lot of kids are off school starting tomorrow. And I was looking at the games tonight, and there's no hockey games tonight. NHL, there are no hockey games tonight, Tony. There are no hockey games tonight.
Okay, so when they have all the hockey games, they go around the league and check out all the games. They should just go around to empty rinks tonight around the NHL.
I don't like it's one thing if this was the holiday break and they started, fine, whatever. That's their choice. But there were 7 games last night, Monday, 14. So 28 teams are playing tomorrow. Then everyone's off on Thanksgiving. So this means some teams possibly are getting a very long holiday break, Tony. I know you love pointing stuff like that out right now.
No. I'm going to point out again how rigged this league is because another holiday and VGK is at home. They're home every holiday.
They're on the road for New Year's Day. They're on the road New Year's Day.
You can't refute it, but they're here for New Year's Eve, probably. No, but that's
they're here for maybe.
That's the only
time. Party.
I thought it was pretty cool that AEW, by the way, is that the wrestling organization?
AEW, yes, it is.
Okay, that they actually released the jerseys for the Outdoor Classic, not made official by the NHL, but I feel like that's a partnership, and they had a third party come in, and I thought it was pretty cool that they leaked the jerseys. I'm not sure that I really like the VGK jersey.
Gold helmets. Gold helmets.
No.
Gold helmets.
Are they gonna?
I don't know. I'm just saying that's what makes those. It's the same shade of gold, Tony. It's the same shade of gold.
This is an outdoor game, bro. They would blind the people in the stands.
When's the last time it was sunny in Seattle?
Oh, good point. You got a point there. But I thought it was pretty cool. Yeah, they get third-party partners, credible, right? Like
AEW is huge. AEW is really big.
Massive social media, attention there for.
I think no. I mean, this is a spot where we've both talked about things, and I believe it was we cited the Dana White's take on marketing in the NHL before, and I think this is cool. I mean, just all of a sudden, boom, there's these here's an NBA player walking in the arena wearing the Seattle Kraken jersey. And then at AEW, you got the hype people talking about it and stuff like that. I don't know if they've ever even said the word outdoor game jerseys or anything, but there it is. And I think it's cool. I mean, this is a spot where the NHL found a creative way to get a buzz going, get people talking about it. And listen, until the NHL says they're the jerseys, Ken from Sinbin is on record saying he's been advised that these are the jerseys. So that's pretty credible to me. But until the NHL acknowledges it, I'll be curious to see if it's actually going to be or not. But if the Golden Knights wear the gold helmets, we're good.
No,
we're good.
Coming up next, Bill Foley was shopping. Was he online for Black Friday looking for deals? I don't know, but he bought another soccer team as he was awarded an expansion football club in New Zealand.
We'll talk about that. Instead? Or is it soccer okay?
It's soccer football. We'll talk about that as we return here on Locked On Golden Knights. Passion, drive, and patience. What brings home the winning trophy is also what keeps your ride or die alive. And so eBay Motors has everything for you. for you to maintain your vehicle to level it up to peak performance. From superchargers to roof racks to exhaust kits to LED headlights and much, much more. Whether you are into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts to choose from for your ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you are looking for. F1 should have went on there on ebaymotors.com to find a new chassis for that car.
$2 million.
$2 million. They could just ship it right to you. And eBay guaranteed fit. Your part is guaranteed to fit your ride each and every time, or you get your money back. Because at eBay Motors, you're either burning rubber or cash, and we're definitely not going to let you burn your cash. Because at eBay Motors, it's going to be finding all the parts that you need at the prices you want. It's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay guaranteed fit. Only available to U.S. customers. Welcome back to Locked On Golden Knights. Tony Cardasco, Chris Gawlik from Las Vegas. Thanks for making us your first listen every day. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel, Locked On Golden Knights. You can also check out our audio version wherever you get your podcast, including Apple and Odyssey. It's there every day, which is great.
Everywhere.
We are everywhere. They do have now, I tweeted out yesterday, they have a manhole, an empty manhole, like emoji on X, which I'm going to use frequently. So that's going to be, I think that might be my
bad ice. Bad ice. Bad ice.
That's my bad ice emoji. Okay, we both are. Oh my goodness, we're in sync. So Bill Foley already owns Bournemouth. It took me a year and a half not to call them Bournemouth.
Right.
And
yeah, same thing.
It's Bournemouth. And he has involvement now with FC Lorient in France. Or Laurent, whatever. Okay, I'm not French. Pardon my French, but I'm not French. And then he now adds a team in Auckland, Chris, to his soccer/football catalog. A team in Auckland, New Zealand, of all places.
I run one business, and I got a couple little projects, but I run one business, and it's a pain in the you-know-what.
Keister.
It's a pain in everything. So just going through the presser here while Tony was talking about manhole covers and stuff, here's what Bill Foley is involved in right now, just from the sports side. Obviously, the Golden Knights, the Silver Knights, the Nighthawks, the G League Ignites. That's just the professional sports endeavors. And then now scrolling up to the top of this press release, he's already got a luxury lodge in, forgive me if I'm saying this wrong, Palliser Bay. He's got winery. This is all already in New Zealand. He's got wineries. He's got restaurants. And his companies are even traded on the New Zealand Stock Exchange. Like, this is just remarkable what Foley is up to. And it's amazing that the Golden Knights are, while a very important part, a very small sliver in this conglomerate, whatever terminology you want to use, that he has built around everything. And it's just pretty remarkable to see. And Vegas is fortunate that they do have Bill Foley, someone who obviously wants to have a successful team. He's got money, so there's not too many concerns there, and keeps reinvesting in the team locally. And we see what's happened with the Golden Knights and how they've spread their wings as far as being a good citizen of Clark County. And this is going to transfer over to his latest endeavor and everything else he does. I mean, just, it's a remarkable story. And I mean, if there was a book about Bill Foley, and if there already is, forgive me, but not It Hurts to Win, but an actual book about just Bill Foley, I would love to read it and just learn about like what clicked to get this going, right? What clicked one day to what's his most important life lesson that got him to this mogul that he is now?
I'm sure it's
Tycoon, mogul.
No, it's diversification, right? So he started in real estate, took money, started to invest in other different projects, what have you. And I'm feeling the vibes, man. Are they immaculate or not? But Auckland, New Zealand, another place that Foley will not invite Bruce Cassidy to. He's never been to Montana. Come on.
I don't know.
No BLTs.
I don't know if
No, didn't he say last year, I've got to get up there? I heard
he did
nice.
say, yeah, I don't know if he's been there since, but yeah.
He did, and he did say, I need some BLT time with Bill.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know if he said BLT time. There's a new Twitter handle for the new team, AKL Football. AKL Football, spelled like American football. 24, only 670 followers, guys. So if you time this right, you might be the 702nd follower, which Tony, you pointed out how the Vegas Golden Knights follow 702 other Twitter handles. So you could be number 702, Tony, although I don't think you're going to be following this team.
No, see, Foley spends his time like building his empire. I check out Twitter or X handles to see how many people they're following. That's how I spend all my time.
You go, no, you see what the players' wives and girlfriends are up to.
The wags, the wives and girlfriends and side pieces.
That's the wags. I said
coming up coming up on Friday. I'm doing WTF stuff. I'm spewing here.
WTT. What the Thursday? No hockey games tonight. Sorry, I had to get that in there. Okay.
Yeah, that's good. You got that in there. WTF or what? The Black Friday coming up on Friday. Saturday mornings exclusive.
What the Dark only. Tuesday? No hockey games tonight. Okay, I'm
sorry. Chris and Chris comes your way on Saturday mornings. We appreciate everyone tuning in, especially our everydayers listening and watching. A couple of turkeys. Had it through a little reference there for Thanksgiving.
We got a lot of turkeys. Okay.
For my man Chris Gawlik, I'm Tony Cardasco from Las Vegas. We appreciate you tuning in again. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. See you again tomorrow right here on Locked On Golden Knights.